But a difficult summer for families who make their home along the Kuskokwim River.
Drastic measures were taken to protect the king salmon run, which was projected to hit another record low. Things got confusing when the federal government stepped in to manage kings on the lower river from Antioch to the mouth, while the river above Antioch remains under state control.
Since May 20th, there's been a complete ban on king salmon fishing, an unprecedented conservation measure. KTVA 11's Rhonda McBride joins us with part one of her series, Season of Sacrifice. Rhonda.
Well, Joe and Emily, things are finally starting to look up. People are finally getting a chance to put up some fish. In part one of our series, photographer Jacob Curtis and I bring you a snapshot of what it was like the day before restrictions were lifted near Bethel, when tensions were still running high. For most of the fishing season, a strange air of quiet on the Kuskokwim, but the airwaves, an entirely different matter.
It's been a tough summer as we try to protect the salmon.
There are very few places where you'd have a 2-hour radio show dedicated to king salmon. One of many this year, but it's that important.
I'm John Active.
Where else in the world would you hear the discussion in both English and Yupik?
We have a call from James at Nabuskak. Good morning, James.
James called to complain to state and federal fishery managers about gear restrictions for the next subsistence opener.
Said he doesn't like the idea of using only 25 fathoms of a net.
I'm going to put you on hold, okay?
With news that fishing restrictions are gradually being phased out, callers sound less angry.
Native way of life, unwritten rule.
A few weeks ago, Fritz Charles stirred controversy when he said he heard about threats of violence on the river.
They are starting to meaning organizing, getting together.
Charles says reliable sources told him that people were planning to fish illegally for kings and carry guns and rifles with them.
The main concern was lives being lost. You cannot replace life. Salmon will always return no matter what.
So far, nothing like this has happened. In fact, the opposite. People have willingly complied to save the kings.
It's heartbreaking.
Walter Snyder has not fished at all this summer. It's been a huge sacrifice.
I love fish camp.
These racks would normally be full by this time of the year.
Because we used to catch them left and right, and we used to fill up our racks with kings. My parents used to, when I was a little kid growing on up.
Walter hopes to get some fishing in soon. He's followed the talk on the radio about the prospect of violence, and he's glad it's just talk.
I was hoping it was just a rumor. Because if they try to do that, that's wrong.
Snyder says it's good the focus has now turned to fishing. But the late start makes it hard. The flies are starting to come out. The good drying weather will soon turn sour. The rhythms of the season out of kilter. What was right and natural seems suddenly wrong.
When the fish are in the river, the elders say, fish till you drop.
It's wrong to let the fish swim by. At the radio station, the job of balancing two worldviews never ends. Charles Enoch reports in 2 languages.
Yupik is kind of an intimate language.
A language in which the word for fish, nika, is interchangeable with the word for food.
You should never, ever argue over food. In our culture, there's a big taboo on conflict over food.
The belief that fish and animals are highly sensitive to human emotions, and conflict drives them away.
Sorry about the wait.
For now, it looks like the fighting will soon be over.
When can we be assured with our sacrifice that we'll make mid-range of the escapement?
I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll get there.
The hope that at least 90,000 kings are on their way to their spawning grounds, a journey of not just death, but also life. Tomorrow we'll take you to Martha and Walter Larson's fish camp near Bethel. We'll show you how they've adapted in this season of sacrifice. They've managed to keep their traditions of cutting and putting up fish without catching kings.